Welcome to Mara's Den. You may think you can defeat me, but I'm clearly the bigger man. Now, why don't we get this party started?
What's up, guys? It has been a long while, but I am finally back with a new episode of Demons of Shin Megami Tensei. To celebrate this comeback, today I am going to be covering one of the most popular demons in the series, for a very obvious reason. That demon is Mara. Mara is a demon that appears in Buddhist lore, who is also known as the Evil One, and has been compared by many religious scholars to Satan in Christianity. Much like Satan, Mara acts as a tempter who tries to fill people's minds with thoughts of the unfavorable and earthly desires. He's also associated with rebirth. For those of you that are unfamiliar with Buddhism, the Four Noble Truths of Buddhism teach that life is suffering. The samsara is the endless cycle of death and rebirth, and the believer's goal is to achieve spiritual enlightenment so that he can be freed from the samsara. Mara tries to hinder the believer's path to spiritual enlightenment, similar to how Satan tries to mislead believers. Buddha himself was also tempted by Mara, just like how Jesus was tempted by Satan. However, some Buddhists today believe that Mara isn't just a demon, that it's also a force that exists that's opposed to enlightenment, and it comes in four types: the Mara of psychophysical existence, the Mara of compulsions, the Mara of death, and the Mara who is born of a god. Both interpretations are accepted by most Buddhists today, both as a demon and as a psychological manifestation, and people who believe in the latter interpret the stories as being symbolic rather than literal. There are several stories involving Mara throughout Buddhism, but the most popular one is the story of Siddhartha Gautama becoming the Buddha. He was meditating underneath the Bodhi tree when Mara came to him riding on an elephant, which in Sri Lankan Buddhism is thought to be Girimakala. He tried to tempt Gautama with a lustful vision of his three daughters. When this didn't work, he sent his armies after him. However, both Mara and his armies were defeated when Gautama touched the earth. It was at this point that Gautama reached enlightenment and became the Buddha. Mara tried to defeat Buddha because he believed that he was more fit to reach enlightenment than a mortal human. Buddha touching the earth was seen as him calling the earth to witness his achievement, and the earth declared that Buddha was more fit to be enlightened than Mara. This story isn't just seen as the story of how Buddha reached enlightenment, but as an inspiration to all Buddhists of how they can overcome their worldly desires to reach enlightenment themselves. But now we get into the part that you all want me to talk about: his design. Mara's popularity in Megami Tensei largely comes from his design. Mara has three main designs, and all of them are exactly what they look like. I gotta be careful with my terminology here so that I don't get demonetized, but they're designed to resemble a male reproductive organ. The first one has an almost Lovecraftian design to it, and SMT1 is the only game that uses this artwork. SMT2, on the other hand, Mara has his iconic chariot design. It's basically the same as the first one, but he's now all green and he's in a chariot. This is the design that would be used in most future Megaten games, including Persona 3, 4, and 5. Mara's third design is one that most people seem to forget about. It's his slime design from Nocturne. I'll explain this design later in the video, but this form only appears in Nocturne, Imagine, and Persona 5. Mara also has one more design in Last Bible, but this looks nothing like any of his other designs, which is probably done since Last Bible is trying to be a little more kid-friendly. Due to Mara's popularity throughout multiple cultures in the Far East, Mara has a variety of different depictions, but none of them look anything like his design in SMT, so his design is mostly an original idea. It comes from the fact that the word Mara is old Japanese slang for the male reproductive organ. The design has come under criticism for being distasteful or being designed this way because of supposed immature humor. But I think there is a reason for this design, and I think it's because Mara in Buddhism represents lustful and earthly desires, so in a way, making him designed after this kinda makes sense. That being said, in the games, Mara usually has some kind of innuendo related to him, whether it be his arcana, his dialogue, or one of his moves. In fact, in the Persona games, having it equipped gets some reactions from the Velvet attendants. Throughout the Megami Tensei series, Mara has too many roles for me to talk about in such a short video, but in most of the spin-off games, he's either an optional super boss or a late game story boss. As a summonable demon, he's usually one of the highest level demons of the Tyrant race. However, in mainline, Mara plays some kind of story role in most of the games, and it's even somewhat tied together. In SMT1, he doesn't have any role other than being a summonable demon, but in SMT2, he's one of Lucifer's strongest demons who guards Castle Kether. In SMT Nocturne, he's summoned in his slime form during a ritual, where 2 mannequins make Baphomet summon him in a hurry, which is the reason he appears in that incomplete slime form. In Strange Journey, Mara is now depicted as female, and as a part of an optional side quest where, depending on the player's alignment, she will either be a boss or an ally. In SMT4, Mara is one of the terminal bosses, and in Apocalypse, he's the antagonist of a series of challenge quests. He doesn't appear in any of the Okada Persona games, but in the Hashino Persona games, he's one of the strongest personas of the Tower Arcana, probably a pun on his design. As I mentioned before, Mara is usually a demon of the Tyrant race or Tower Arcana, and his types and weaknesses vary depending on the game, but he usually specializes in either physical or fire skills. His skill sets are sometimes made up of puns for his design. For example, in Apocalypse, his exclusive skill is Hell Thrust. In Persona 3, he gets Primal Force, which does severe pierce damage, and oftentimes gets charm-inflicting skills too. It's easy to see why Mara is such a popular demon, not just because of his design, but because he's one of the best late-game demons in most games. He's also become sort of an icon for memes and jokes about the Megami Tensei series. There are a lot of mixed opinions about his design, but considering how much of an icon for the series he is, I don't think he's ever going to get removed. He's also promoting the series in a way, because people who are unfamiliar with Megami Tensei see his design, and out of morbid curiosity, look for things like this that explain who and what he is. He's definitely a big part of the series, and you know what? I'm totally okay with that. Anyways guys, that is all I have to say about Mara. It's good to be back to doing these Demons of SMT videos again, and this is the first non-Judeo-Christian demon I've covered. If you're a Buddhist and I got anything wrong, I do apologize, and please let me know what I messed up in the comments. I also apologize if I messed up the pronunciation of anything. You know, I have a hard time pronouncing a lot of these foreign names because I'm Southern. Also, in the comments, be sure to tell me what you guys think of the video, and what demons do you want to see me cover next. As always, be sure to rate, comment, and subscribe, and be sure to check out my links in the description. Until next time, I will see you guys later.